Okay, I will entertain a motion that we go into the Zion Park District Board meeting October 19th. Eric, please, or Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Perrine?
Here.
Commissioner Pye?
Here.
Commissioner Magiera?
Here.
Commissioner Rivers? President Hartman?
Here. All right, if I can ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, I will go ahead and entertain a motion for approval of the minutes as stated.
So move.
I think we have to. I think we have to list it.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the Personnel and Finance Subcommittee and the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Zion Park District dated September 21st, 2023.
All right, I have a second. I have a second. Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Perrine?
Aye.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera?
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers? President Hartman?
Aye. All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as stated. Any additions or deletions? Okay,
So moved.
I have a second. I have a second. Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Perrine?
Aye.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera?
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers? President Hartman?
Aye. Okay, commissioners' comments. Anybody have any comments to make?
I got one. You guys, your full-time staff is doing a great job throughout the park district. I'm surprised how nice the buildings and the land look.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. They're working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are really working hard.
Okay, anybody else? All right, anything from the attorneys?
Nope, nothing.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve for the unpaid bills.
I'll make a motion to pay for the expenditures for the month of September 2023 in the amount of $271,289.77.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a second. Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Perrine?
Aye.
Commissioner Pye?
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera?
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers? President Hartman?
Aye. The executive report.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about in my report was the first paragraph that I had written. Midwestern Regional Medical Center, which is now, City of Hope Hospital over there. They are in the process of or trying to file for a tax exempt status. They believe that they offer enough. They believe that they offer enough services to be considered a nonprofit. And so they have notified all the taxing bodies in Zion. They're required to notify all the taxing bodies. So on October 3rd, we received a letter that said they had they're listed their multiple PINs, property ID numbers that they're applying for a tax exempt status on. So that's a property tax exempt status, right? So it was something that I think all the taxing body leaders were kind of aware of that they might do over the last year or so since City of Hope acquired that hospital. We've talked about it. I've talked with multiple people about it and continue to have ongoing conversations. I've talked with our attorneys about it, who will do some intervention into the tax matter as much as they can to support for that not to happen. Our attorneys have talked to the school's attorneys. We talked to the city administrator. The city administrator and the mayor are working on some items. We've talked with Representative Joyce Mason, Senator Mary Edley Allen, County Board Rep Gina Roberts. I also ran into Senator Adrian Johnson a couple days ago at an event in Waukegan, although Adrian Johnson represents the Waukegan community and not ours. Mary Edley Allen represents us. She works closely with the other senator, with our senator, to kind of let them know that, hey, this is very concerning for our community. We are willing to go through the process and do whatever we can to kind of prove that they're not a tax exempt entity and they should be paying property taxes. And so the process is, the first hearing is supposed to be held at the county level, where they present their evidence as to why it should be granted, and then from there, my understanding is that they go to the state of Illinois. So I don't know where it's at right now at this point in the process, as far as like, they have not had any hearings yet, right? And again, you have to consider too, with us being 6.7% of the total tax by, the school districts, who are 65 to 75% of the tax by, they're looking at a much more significant event, right?
What is the impact? Do you know what the impact is?
I don't know yet what the impact would be. I've asked our attorneys to run some scenarios on what that would be. I don't know what the variety of pins that they've listed, if they would all be granted tax exempt status, only a handful.
Are they tax exempt in other locations, like outside of Illinois?
I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if each state and jurisdiction is different. I'm sure they're good at the process, whatever it is. I'm sure they're informed on it. Some of the things that I was talking with the Zion tax assessor as well, Colette Davis, she looked up some of their pins and she's like, well, some of these pins show different entities holding the property, whether it's Chase Bank or MRMC or City of Hope or so-and-so investment partners, so that's kind of like an anomaly and something that's a little strange.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to get IAPD involved with this for a little more leverage on our part?
I don't know that I think we have the right people involved in the battle at this point. Between, honestly, all the entities, attorneys are working together.
Right.
Whether
okay.
it's ours, the schools, the
I'm just
library,
looking
the township,
from,
the city,
yeah.
right? And then also our representatives.
I was just looking for our standpoint from the IAPD side.
Yeah.
Maybe a little push from them also.
Yeah,
So,
I can reach out to Jason Anselman, honestly, and see if he has any thoughts or
he may
any
back
guidance.
off, or he may say, hey, I'll help
yeah,
you guys out.
it doesn't hurt. He's always very helpful. I can certainly
Right.
send him an email.
I don't understand. They got the hospital, the parking garage,
Right.
and the hotel, and the old bank.
Yeah, they have a lot of other little properties
Yes.
too, various lots.
How can they do this? You can't tell me when people come in, they are not making money.
Right.
It's not possible.
Well, it's not. It's more than just them not making money, right? It's them considering a non-profit services,
Right.
So I don't know exactly what the qualifications are as to having them go through, the hearings to try to prove that. But it's definitely disappointing.
The cancer center paid property taxes, correct?
Yeah. Oh, they always have.
So what's the difference?
They always have.
Okay.
So again, I just
think
wanted
we can
to.
beat this to
What's the final deciding factor here? Would it be at the state level or the?
It sounds like to me the state level, from what I'm hearing.
Nonprofit?
Right.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like the state level. So to have our legislators involved is definitely
important,
helpful.
right, so.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to update the board because that information was just made known to us like maybe 2 weeks ago, right? And everyone's been working
So
on
we
it
don't even have
pretty
to.
quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
We're just gonna have to wait and see where it goes.
Yeah. Right. Right now, and I'm in constant communication with all the different leaders of the different taxing bodies and our attorneys and the township assessor and everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
So the next thing was, on a positive note, I wanted to point out that if you see in the director's report here, Herman Park had its 48th anniversary, celebrated its 48th anniversary, and they had an open house. And so they had a real good attendance there. They had a nice cookout. David always does such a good job of kind of hosting, and being a host whenever he has a big event like this. So, congratulations to Herman Park, the Herman Park Center on 48 years. I think it's a very important facility in the Park District and does a lot of good in the community. And also, as you kind of scroll down, there's some other pictures there within the report. If you noticed, which is still up, the high school art club painted our walls out front, which was really cool. The high school students came and did that. And then on the park maintenance side, you know, kind of in our continued and ongoing efforts to just kind of improve conditions throughout the parks. There's a couple nice shots there of some seal coating and striping that we recently did on a couple basketball courts, which is looking really good. Rich's crew also has been out spreading, you know, just how many yards of
400 tons.
yeah, 400 what?
400 tons.
So 400 tons of wood chips were put into park playgrounds, topping them off and really making them look good. So I just wanted to point out that and the efforts there, and hopefully, you know, people are noticing that at some of the parks. We're getting good feedback from people about kind of park conditions, and I'm proud of that. Also wanted to point out too and give Rich kudos on the pool repair that he did. So if you see the two pictures there, the side-by-side pictures of the pipe, you can see the left side is the broken pipe just kind of spewing water from the top there, which was Rich's attempts after the pool was closed to find this leak, right? So
That was the one causing all the big.
yeah, so we lost, I mean, we lost how many thousand?
We averaged probably 10 to 12 a day.
Yeah, so 10 to 12,000 gallons of water a day. And I'll let Rich talk about it more, but this is the only leak that he found. And then you can see his repair job on the right-hand side. It was a difficult spot for him because the pipe was in the concrete. So it wasn't behind the concrete where some of the other piping is. But yeah, he did a really good job with the help of Terry Staples, Rich. And, so, you know, for now it's the only leak that Rich has found. So that's a positive thing. And honestly, a great job by him to get that repaired.
Rich, you think that would be the only leak you would find?
Well, that's all I've found so far.
To
So
find out
we'll
when we
find out
fill,
more in the spring after we go through the
fill the
freeze-thaw
pool.
cycle.
Yeah.
And just to wrap up my report, the last thing I wanted to point out was in the email that I had sent you, hopefully you're able to click through to that link for the article on Shepherd's Crook in Gulf, Chicago. So yeah, it was a really, really cool article, great exposure for the course. I mean, this magazine gets really kind of dropped off and distributed at really all courses in Chicagoland, and so to have kind of this like center layout spread with a nice article is just more great positive promotion for the course. And I know Alan's, you know, super proud, and he should be.
Oh, I got one question with your report. I don't know where the land is.
Which one?
The light pole.
Oh, the light pole in Chad's report?
David Park.
Yeah, that's it, David. That's just some of kind of like some of the vandalism and nonsense that Chad comes across as him and his rangers patrol parks.
Oh, did a car hit it?
That one, honestly, I don't know if it was an abandoned car. I know we had the picture before about that car that drove into the pond that they came across. Do you know the story on this car?
Yeah, that was an abandoned, I forgot what exactly came about on that.
Stolen vehicle or something?
Yeah, I think it was. I think Zion PD ended up impounding that, taking that one over.
Yeah, before it was the car in the pond that he died of, but
actually, it looks like a nice looking car too.
yeah. So yeah, I've asked
staff
to kind of put some pictures in the report too, so you guys can see
Yeah,
kind of
no,
some of
that's
the good
pretty
stuff
cool.
too. Hopefully it's helpful in addition to some of the data. and narratives. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's all.
Good report, Eric.
Thanks.
All right. Next is the presentation by
Synergy Power.
Synergy Power.
Will you need the screen? I know we had talked about that. Sorry.
I have a presentation ready if it's not already in. There's only one small change from what we had previously.
Let me see.
And that was an increase. I didn't know if it was in everybody's booklet or not. But
let me see. Maybe if we can hook up to the TV, if that's okay.
Right. That would be great.
Let's give that a shot. I think it would be better for these guys to. Oh, you know what, too? I think I may have sent the presentation out in a second email.
You did.
Okay.
You did.
Does that work for everyone, or? Do you want them to hook up to the TV?
If it's not any more clear, then the presentation here is fine.
Okay, let me see if we can. TV remote is on the Samsung.
It can couple minutes to show everything. Well, until you wait like 10 seconds and open.
Yeah, the HDMI, that'd be the HDMI. I just need to flip this on and
This
switch
is-
the video source.
Right there.
That presumes that I can get my laptop to work too. I do have an HDMI port.
Well, the board does have it.
Yeah,
in
we
their
have it.
package,
Yeah, I've
so-
got it, I've got it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
There we
but
go.
I have
Yeah.
a couple extra copies. That are available. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, here we go. Now I need to figure out the
What the?
input portion.
I'm just gonna pause.
Yeah.
There you go.
Source.
Those smart TVs, wish they'd make us smart to operate it. There we
Oh,
go.
there's your.
Look, like taking candy from a baby. Look at that.
There we go.
Look at Eric.
Now I just need to know how to do the presentation.
Did you?
Oh, we
did
had
you
it.
lose it? We lost
We
it.
had it and lost
Yeah.
it.
My
Here
God.
we are.
Oh, it's down in the corner.
These buttons. Anybody know where the remote would be? It's not in the back end. Otherwise, I could just
Yeah.
bring up your. No, it's not in
In the back.
Did they get pushed to the back or something?
Uh,
Just
you
check
know-
my office real fast. That is a big one.
If everybody has a presentation, we could go ahead and move on.
Yeah. Or at least I could do mine.
Do you have a paper copy of it?
I do have a paper
Oh,
copy.
you're the man.
Yeah. Let me unplug it and we can work on something.
No, this is good. Thank you, sir.
Make sure there's 4 pages here. There we go.
Because I print everything out, makes
Sure,
things go
that's
faster.
the.
Appreciate that.
The thank yous are, I have one more.
Thank you so
copy.
much.
Yep, what about him? Thank you.
So, good evening, everybody. My name is William Heck. I go by Bill. I represent Synergy Power. And thank you for your time this evening. I'd like to talk a little bit about an opportunity on the old landfill site next to the city, and it looks like the city's on one side of the landfill and we're on the other. And I'll get into that, but just the broadly overview. We've done a lease with the city to build a solar facility there, and we think we can have a compelling argument to continue that and make another project on your land. So a little bit about Synergy. Right, our mission is to generate superior value for the community stakeholders. And we do this in a couple of different ways. One, we participate in the programs that sell power, renewable energy, within the community, and the power stays within the community. We also try to make a compelling commercial argument for the park and the city and other public entities that this land that they couldn't otherwise use creates some value. So we've done a lot of these projects, more than 500 projects, more than half a gigawatt on landfills, at airports, at various cities across Illinois, Massachusetts, California. So we have a large presence. 14 states, if we go by the bullet points. It's kind of a robust company, and what I mean by that is when we start a project, we can complete it, right? And you'll see a lot of projects kind of get a fit in the start. We have bonding capacity of $200 million, so that once we do start the project, right, we have that financial capacity to complete it. And I think there's a letter in here from our bonding folks. And we've done a lot of projects in Illinois. This is my 3rd year working out here, doing around the Chicago area, as far south as almost St. Louis. So a lot to the west, a lot in DeKalb County for some reason. So what we already have done with the city of Zion is we've developed a 2 megawatt, 1.99 megawatt solar facility, about 8 acres. It's on 6 acres. It'll have a 35-year lifespan. It provides 20% energy at 20% less than the current utility rates. So folks that participate will get a discount on their electric rate, and that can include the park and of course the city and whoever else wants to participate in that. It is renewable energy. So on the city side, we've secured the lease. We have a grid interconnection so we can deliver the power. We have power purchase agreements in place, right, so that we can sell the power. We've got a renewable energy credit application, right, and our permitting is underway. Landfill's a little unique, a little bit more to work on, right, but we're getting there. And we expect that that facility will begin operation in end of next year. What could be phase 2, if y'all agree, is another 3 megawatts located on that old landfill adjacent to the cities, right? It will take about 10 acres of land, again, 35 years. We proposed a lease option with the help of Eric. We put in a request for the interconnection to deliver the power. And I think it sets a precedent where we could take these brownish fields, landfills, right, and put them to good use to the benefit of the community. So, why would it be compelling for you though, right? So the economic savings, right, is going to provide this 20% that I had already mentioned. It does help with the electrical grid by getting grid stability. You know, you probably don't have a huge electrical power quality problem here, but it's helpful. We produce the energy locally, of course. What's made here will all be consumed here. And it's solar, and everybody likes solar. What the park gets is direct lease income. So we will sign a long-term lease with you. Eric has the details, we've been talking about it quite a bit. And what's different in your slides is we were looking at a specific donation of 100 to 200,000, and that's now 175,000 to 200,000. So half at construction start, half when completed, and that'll go directly to the park. And we think we'll get some additional tax revenue. Right? I know you have a small portion of the overall tax, but it would be, I think the property tax would be taxed higher. And I think that's about it. I'm here to answer your questions. That's the overview, and I can let you know anything you might want to know.
I just want to point out. I just want to point out one spot where this is the parcel that he's talking about. Okay, so this is Kedron. This is what we call the Kedron Park, the Kedron Storage Building. We have a maintenance garage on there now, which is more really like a pole barn, to be honest. Rich will keep some equipment and trailers and things like that out there. Otherwise, we have it's about 13 usable acres that they're proposing this on. The city's property that he referenced is right here, right?
So you're talking about a total of like 16 acres that this is going to be
13.
on?
About 13.
Oh, 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and it's currently a landfill where it's just Rich in the city, they're dumping wood chips out there. There's no other use for the property.
Where are homes located around that?
There are homes directly across from the street. Directly across the street, I think that's 17th Street. Mm-hmm. There's already a very well established vegetative buffer there. The trees are quite high, they're maybe 10 or 12 feet high. The neighbors there now cannot see the landfill site, and they would not see except through the gate. Right, and there's also a facility, a safe haven facility. Yeah. But for looking through the gate, you would not see this facility with the buffer that is already there.
Yeah.
It's burned with vegetation all around.
And if somebody was to climb over this fence,
Mhm.
what happens if they're touching all this stuff?
Various levels of touching, so everything's locked, right? Of course, it's signed, it's fenced. We could talk about what the appropriate fence for that is. Some people like different kinds of fences, but we can make it a robust barbed wire kind of fence. Everything's in an enclosure and it's locked. If somebody went out there with a pair of wire cutters on a sunny day and grabbed a wire and cut it with the wire cutters, they'll probably get hurt. You know, but that would be the same as going out to any electrical facility anywhere. You know, crazy people do crazy things like climb poles, they cut wires, they get hurt. We make it pretty secure. We've had a very good safety record. I personally have been doing this for 20 years and have never had anybody hurt by electricity on a job.
I imagine there's some discussions on the legal side of this. You said so much money is proposed as when you start building, but if someone during the lease cycle, the whole project goes belly up for some reason, what does that leave us with the cleanup of the area?
So, two parts in there. First is, for a solar project, all the capital, all the money, except for a little bit of O&M, is put in upfront. It is always economically rational to continue operating the plant because the sun is otherwise free, right? We don't care what the fuel cost is. Gas can go up or down, it does not matter. That said, right, at the end of life now, let's go all the way out. You know, we'd probably like to evergreen this in 25, 35 years. What happens then, right? So what we have is, in this case, it would be a ballasted system. This will sit on blocks, for lack of a better word, because we don't want to penetrate the landfill cover, right? So all that, so you've got that concrete. The rest is aluminum, glass, steel, copper, right? So it's recyclable. We could certainly consider a quote decommissioning bond, right? That would cover the cost at end of life.
Is that in there now in the agreement?
I don't know if it's in the.
I believe currently in the agreement now, it says that the solar company will restore the property back to its initial condition upon termination of the lease.
Okay.
Right, but we're still working through the details with our attorney and their attorneys. So really at this point, there would be no lease to approve, right? I just wanted to see if the board was really interested and on board with moving forward. But the attorneys are negotiating some of those specifics.
And the question that came up earlier about liabilities, if there was an accident that occurred on there, would the liability be then with the solar company or would it be?
Well, of course, we're insured against those liabilities, right? So we'll have several $1 million of insurance, both on the property itself, right? Hailstorm, right, damages the property, as well as liability insurance for somebody that crawls over the fence.
Oh, sorry, Bill, I cut you off.
No, not at all.
Those details will still be all reviewed by our attorneys.
Right.
Right?
So
and before we
basically-
brought the final lease agreement to the board.
Yeah, so basically right now, what we're gonna approve is to move forward.
I think
This is gonna be broken down in different phases, I would imagine. I mean, this is the planning phase of it right now.
Yeah, the
Trying to
first
get all
phase
the
is-
nuts and bolts together.
Right.
And then once they complete, then they bring it to us, and then we go into next phase. So I think that's kind of what we're gonna be doing, or unless,
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no, the board's not approving any agreement.
okay.
It's just the board, I really wanted to introduce this
Okay.
topic to you and this potential and see if you wanted me to continue down this path with the attorneys and then hopefully by the next meeting, bring you the final agreement,
No,
which would them kind of get them
Right.
moving forward on.
Okay, I just want to get a clear vision on where, go ahead, Cheryl, please.
So you listed the benefits. Are there any downsides that we have to consider?
most of the downsides that I see are really visual impact downsides. I mean, it's quiet, doesn't make any noise. It's in a location that doesn't have higher or better uses, at least I think it is. Most of what I see, having done many conditional use permits and supplemental use permits, people are concerned about the visual impact on the adjoining property. And in this case, you already have that huge vegetative buffer. I don't think that applies in this place. We try to work with those. Nonetheless, we plant things and do things or put in the proper fencing. People will say, or people will ask, what about environmental hazard, right? So these things are glass and aluminum, right? Steel, galvanized steel, so I guess there's a very modest amount of lead in galvanized steel. But we're already in a landfill, right? So for whatever that's worth. In this case, other people bring up changes to drainage, right? Is there going to be more water runoff? Is this going to affect my property downstream? In agricultural places, they'll talk about their drain tiles. So I can invent downsides. Getting one that applies to this particular project, right, makes it a little more difficult. Now, of course, to come back to what we're asking for, we're looking for a lease option today, or we're talking about a lease option today, because once we have insight into the ability to get a lease in the future, then we can spend some money, right? And we'll be spending that money on an interconnection so that we can actually hook it up to the wires. We're going to do it on environmental investigation. We're going to do hydrology, right? We're probably going to do some kind of soils testing to make sure it supports everything properly. So there's a lot of things that we do. We put several $100,000s into it, and at the end of time, right, and if we find a fatal flaw, we find a fatal flaw, right? But at the end of time, we want to be able to have that lease so the money is not spent for no reason.
I have two questions. One, what if we lease it to you, what would that building be? Can we use it because you are leasing the property? And if we do the project, will we have spent any money to get it going?
Right.
So I'm not sure I understood the question.
So, yeah, the first part of it was, will we still be able to use our building that's out there? Will we still be able to, pull in and out of it, park trailers and whatnot?
I'll tell you what I'd like to do is I'd like to move it for you.
Yeah.
When you go out and look at it or provide some other kind of accommodation, I can build around it, to be sure. But then we've kind of got these arrays coming up both sides of it, and you're set back maybe 120 feet from the fence now.
Right.
We can do that in design. We can build around it.
But I imagine from your side, you'd be concerned about our trucks maybe pulling in and hitting one of the panels or doing some damage to something out there that's solar.
I'm sure you got really qualified guys. We have insurance, right? but we would want to we would put bollards out, right? So and we do that anyway where there's a transformer, some high voltage. We would go out and put a pipe in the ground so that if somebody backs into it, they back into the pipe and not into the transformer. But we can address that in the design to make that work so that you still have some storage space there.
Yeah, that's primarily what we use it for, is storage.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
what was your second part, Just? The second part was
How much will we have put down to start the project?
I mean, it won't cost us anything out of pocket. No, we don't have any. We don't have any out of cost on them. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm
Cheryl,
sorry,
please.
sorry.
No,
And
go
this
ahead.
might be like a crazy question that doesn't even make sense, but is EMF an issue with that? Like the, what am I trying to say?
you're trying to say EMF. It's a concern for many people.
Okay.
Right, so we take that kind of seriously, right? So electromagnetic forces, right?
Yeah.
Electricity, every wire, every cell phone, everything that you have
Right.
has some kind of EMF associated with it, right? Plug in the wall has EMF. So now what we have out of the project site is we have this 34,000 volt line going down the street, right? The project itself, right, on the DC side it'd be 1,000 volts, 1,000 instead of 34,000. And our AC side is 600 volts, right? Something that you might see in a large commercial building, something that has some big motors in it, right? They're probably 480, could be as high as 4 kV. So we've got competing EMF. If you believe it does harm, so let's just assume it does. If you believe it does harm, then you've got this big radiator up on the street, that's losing its force. It halves every time the distance doubles, if that makes sense. So when you get 20 feet away, right, it's a quarter of what it was. And where the facility is located, by the time you get out of the facility itself, there's essentially no EMF. Any that was there would be overshadowed by that big power line.
Yeah, I was concerned about the houses in the
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
Justified with
lots of
their-
folks share that
yeah.
concern.
And then just one other thing.
Sure.
So you said the donation now is 175.
It's a base of 175 as much as 200.
Okay, but it was 100.
It was 100.
And it moved to 175.
Yes, Mr. Bradley has done a very good
Excellent.
job. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and entertain a motion to go ahead and push forward with this, or not to push forward?
No, I don't think it has to be like a formal even motion. It's just
Okay.
like the sentiment of the board. If you want me to keep working on it and bring it back to you in November.
I
I mean, if you guys have any
I mean,
concerns
you
or.
know more about it than we do.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that? Because, I mean, this is the
I-
first. we're
I
talking
do,
about
and honestly, I would also like Rich to chime in just on the property in general,
Yeah.
because I think that property is really, it's nothing that, it's not like we're looking and saying, well, we're taking away something that could potentially be a soccer field or a park. I mean,
Right.
the property really effectively
nothing.
has no use.
It's a desolate, it's a hill,
Okay.
it's nothing.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to show the board if at any point
Yeah.
from this meeting before the next
Just
meeting,
take
if you
'em
wanted
out
to come
and
out
show
and just
'em
kind of
out.
walk the property and see
Yeah.
it. It does actually have a nice border around it
Yeah.
to where it will be pretty secluded,
It was,
pretty
it
hidden.
was when the landfill was actually vacated, it was burned up because of the neighboring
Okay.
houses and
Yeah.
everything there. And there's pretty high vegetation on it. And I'll touch in on the EMF thing a little bit. There's already large combat high tensile lines along the whole north side of the property that have been there for 60 plus years, probably before most of them houses were there.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, I'm not trying to be a salesman here, but I think it would improve it. It would look nice, and I think it would be a nice thing for the park district to put up and say, hey, look, we are going the green energy way, and this is, you know,
Right.
kind of the route we're going.
And regardless of what we do, the city is already moving on their
Yes.
parcel, which is almost
So they're
effectively connected.
they're
to
already
it.
moving through.
Yeah.
All right,
They're ahead in the process, yeah.
So I think what we should do is, first of all, does anybody have any objections? Anybody have any other questions to push forward?
Okay,
Um,
one more. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
that's
Cheryl,
fine.
please. No,
That's
that's
fine.
great.
Yeah.
No, Keith.
So the benefit to the citizens, is that an automatic, or is that something they have to ask for? Is that something they have to apply for? Is it just a
Something
benefit?
they'll have to apply for, but it's through a state program.
They'll have to apply for it.
Yeah, it's called they call it Illinois Shines now.
Yep.
Right?
And
it's-
there's criteria that they have to meet?
I don't think so.
I believe all you do is sign up for the program. So I'm sure you've seen with your personal utility bills, there's other forms of purchasing you can do with it. That's one of them, and that it would be a rebated program. If it's
Okay.
the same as what I've seen.
Hey, these are great questions. So
Yeah, good question.
I got one.
Yeah.
What we say, I'd like to build.
Yes, I think our
I think
intent,
so.
Jesse, would, the park district would sign up for the program and save the 20%.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as he mentioned additionally too, the property that's out there right now is really nothing. These solar panels that will be built will have some taxable value to them, so they will generate some property tax as well, which will benefit all the taxing entities in
That's
town.
what I don't understand, the tax about.
It'll generate some property tax on like the real property that's being constructed out there.
Mhm.
Not a whole lot,
Yeah.
but some
Minute.
versus none.
All right. Anybody else? I think.
No, if you have a question, that's
No,
why.
no,
That's why I wanted him to come tonight,
This
because I know
is-
this is totally new and totally different, and would love to have.
Actually, this is great
representatives.
questions
Yeah.
because this is kind of what they're pushing towards anyway. So we want to make sure that, you know, and Cheryl and Jesse and Dave, I mean, you all ask outstanding questions. So please, if you have any more, please ask, because it's new to everybody. And we want to make sure we cross the T's, dot the I's, and, you know, we're doing what's right for the residents and for the park district.
And we're very available if there's more questions, right? Eric has all our contact information. If we need to come back out and chat again.
Yeah, that would be
do that.
super.
You know,
Anybody have it? Yeah, that'd be great. Dave?
No, it's a good presentation. I think a lot of my questions will be answered once we have a final contract to look at, so.
Yeah.
It'll be this. Well, one thing I wanted to add as part, I'm gonna say marketing, it's the wrong word, but what we will be doing is, first off, you've got the green energy, we'll revegetate that with pollinator-friendly vegetation so that we can maintain it. So now you've got this brownfield to greenfield kind of thing that I think is important for the park district to consider. You know, that now we've got more bees and butterflies and things like that because of the way this is being managed. But with that, thank you so
Bring
much
on
for
the
your time.
butterflies.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I'm gonna take off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we will probably invite you back, because I'm sure there's going to be more questions for sure.
So we'll have to look at the contract.
Yeah,
No, nice job on the
yeah,
presentation.
nice job. Oh, sir, do you want this back?
No, sir, that's yours, in fact.
Wow. What a
I
country.
have one more, I already know what's in it.
I can take it and we'll see it.
What a country. Thank you for your time again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, so it sounds like we're going to go ahead and kind of push forward with this. What I don't understand is, one, I know this is being shoved down everybody's throat with all the solar panels put on homes and all this other stuff, and making it sound like you're making, you know, you're saving all this money. But, you know, again, I don't understand enough about it,
Yeah.
too.
I mean, I think solar is, you know, it's an up and coming, or it's not even up and coming. By now, it's readily accepted energy source and stuff like that too. I think from the so I've been talking with these guys a lot, right? Just because they've really been, I could get the sense that because they already have the agreement with the city, so this is probably just a real easy add-on for them to hook up the infrastructure. And I believe they like it too. Not only is it a landfill, but it's right next to the grid there, so it's easy access, right?
think also
so
what
we
was the-
started.
yeah.
I was just gonna say we started at 1,200 an acre. He just came back and he said 1,200 an acre. We'll make a small donation to a park, and then back and forth. So I got him to $1,500 an acre on the 13 acres plus a 2% inflation rider. And tried to get him honestly to 5%, but he's got his whole math on his net present value of the formulas and stuff like that. So I said, okay. Then he said, but what we can do is, he's like, I can guarantee you then the donation will increase substantially. And I said, well, you aren't telling me any numbers on the donation. Are we talking about 30,000, 150,000? Yeah. And he said 100,000, you know, we could do 100,000. And then I back and I was like, well, you know, we need more than 2%, you know, 2% on this money in 10, 15 years when inflation right now is currently running as high as it is doesn't do it. You know, it's not, I don't think the park board is going to get them excited.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And then he came back and he said, okay, well I can up it to 175,000 to 200,000, so a range of 175 to 200,000 based on like their project costs and some other things. But obviously, well, I told him to. I was like, I need that documented. You know.
Yeah.
So we need that in writing as well as the terms of 1,500 an acre plus 2% a year. So that's the financial side of it, right? Which I think is beneficial for us.
And
Um,
what is it? What are they paying monthly lease?
They'll pay us $1,500 a month. They would pay us $1,500 a month, and every year that would increase by 2%.
Wait, $1,500 per acre?
Per acre?
No.
No. So the
they're-
annual.
They're leasing it for $1,500 a month for the whole piece of property.
Yeah, it comes out to $19,500 in the first year.
That seems very cheap.
It's only 13 acres. You know, and I told him that too initially. I was like, you know, I don't know if the park board is going to be interested in this, and so I got him from 1,200 to the 15, plus the 2% inflation rider, plus the donation. You know, but it's. I mean, honestly, it's $20,000 a year we wouldn't have otherwise. It's property that we really can't use.
Can't use. So we're
Wait, does
going.
that go up every year, the lease amount, or it stays? the
Goes up by
same?
2%.
2%.
It'll go up by
Okay.
2%.
Is there any comparables that we can look at?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
To what other cities have done or other park districts or?
Well, What I can ask is I can ask the city what they're getting. I think that'd be the best comp, is to ask the city, because the city's already farther along in this process,
Also,
and ask them what they're.
also we can ask him about some of his projects, to see if anybody we can talk to in some of his existing projects.
Yeah.
Or
for
any
sure.
other park districts that are involved.
Yeah, I did ask him about park districts. I don't think they've worked with any other park districts before, but in his project, he cites kind of some of the different areas in Illinois
Yeah, I
that they've
saw it,
worked in.
yeah, saw that.
So, I'm guessing if they're a big company, right?
Yeah.
So they must have figures out there of their worth and how much they make every year, or does that
Not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
if they're a privately owned company, they don't have to disclose anything like we have to disclose. They're not a government entity, so they're not.
I guess where do they make their money at?
That's the confusing part I have.
Well,
Sale of power to the
Yeah,
state,
to the
to
utility.
the state exchanges, so.
yeah, so selling the power, right?
Because to me, if it sounds good, then you're like,
Yeah.
Actually, this whole process is easier for me to understand than a homeowner buying solar panels for their roof. Because that's all dependent on how long you're gonna stay there. Here,
Yeah.
we're gonna be here for a while, so we can actually project 35 years from now and what we want out of this 35 years.
Right.
I think the good part is that we're $20,000 ahead with property that really we can't use. Can't do nothing with. And then if we just kind of pull the plug on this, now we're down to zero amount and an empty land that,
And they clean up all their equipment
And
because
they
they're
go
on the
home.
hook for it.
Well, yeah, but one of the things that when I was going back and forth with our attorney, if they start their process, this lease option is not. I mean, at the end of the lease option, we're committed to the lease because they're going to be out there, like he said, doing all those studies and things like that. So they're going to put a significant amount of dollars and time into their due diligence.
Right.
Now they may get into their due diligence and say, like he said, this site's just a no-go. We can't use it.
we're gonna have to use something different.
Right. So then in that situation, we wouldn't get paid anything, right? But if he gets to the end of it and then he says, "Oh yeah, this is perfect. This is what we want," then we are obligated to the lease, right? It's not like we can say at that point,
Right.
"Oh well, we've thought about it since you guys have been out there the last 12 months conducting your survey. We don't want to do it anymore."
Yeah.
So really, when the contract comes out is when we have to either say yay or nay.
Yeah, so there's two parts that I was going back to the city on, because the first one was a smaller,
Just like you said.
lease option agreement, and then I told him, obviously, well, we need to see the lease, though. We need to
Right.
see what this thing converts into, you know. Oh, I'll get you that. So he actually did give me that today, and I sent it to our attorneys this morning. So,
Well,
It'd just
I
be
mean-
interesting to see. I just don't want, like, they're making so much money off of us and the
Mhm.
lease is so little.
yeah, I know.
So-
I know. It's hard to gauge. I mean, we don't have any other reference. Like, if it was a cell tower company that was coming in saying we want to build a cell tower, we have our own, how much we're making off of that current one.
There was some of the cities have done with the casinos coming in, that they've been able, they had in their initial agreements where they could go back to the casino and renegotiate what their tax assessment was going to be.
Now, one of the things he explained to me as I kept trying to push him on these numbers and stuff like that, he said like the solar powers and the panels actually kind of lose capacity over time, so the system kind of becomes
they have
less
to be
efficient.
upgraded.
Right,
Okay.
it becomes less efficient and it outputs less power as the years go on.
And would mean they'd have to upgrade it.
Yeah,
And
and
what's
that's
that
why he
gonna
wasn't
be?
willing to go 5% a year on an annual increase. on
Well, I
it.
think, right, and the bad part for us is we really have nobody to go out and ask information about.
That's the hard part. I can check in with the city and see what their cost is.
And see if
And
they
maybe
know if
the
anybody.
lawyers have,
I did ask our lawyer. He said I have no way to figure that out.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we had other park districts or other
Entities.
And
entities
he-
that are
yeah.
involved.
Yeah, and he honestly, when I was talking to him, I'm like, you think this is good? He's like, my job is not to tell you if this is good or not, or how much to ask for, or how much to make. My job is to just make sure that you're covered in the contract.
Right,
You know.
I'll let you know how many of these other sites are public sites or public property. At least.
Yeah.
So because those are what I think would really talk to us. If it's a privately owned area, a lot of the land I can see they may not be resistant. They might be resistant in disclosing
Yeah.
their general data.
Right.
But if it was another city, another publicly owned property, I think we could get.
Oh yeah, they would have to give it to us, right?
Right,
we could FOIA it if we wanted
Right,
to,
so-
but you know. Yeah.
All right, well, I think we beat this dead
Okay, so
horse.
you guys are okay to keep moving
I-
forward? We'll keep
I don't have a problem
negotiating
unless
and-
anybody else does.
Okay.
All right. Okay, next one. I will entertain a motion that we open the public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Park Commissioners of the district to the sale of 2,250,000 general obligation limited tax park bonds for the payment of land commitment or purchase for parks for the buildings, maintaining, improving, and protecting of the same and the existing land and facilities of the district for the payment of expenses incident thereto.
Right, so this is just to open, I just wanted to further explain to and clarify to the board, this is not us selling 2.25 million of bonds, this is us having the BINA hearing, which is the Bond Issuance Notification Act, which is just giving us the ability to sell up to 2,250,000.
Okay, so Bill entertained, I mean.
Yeah,
so
so-
do
I
we
was-
need that?
Yeah, so he's opening the
So
public hearing.
then-
I'm opening the
So-
public
So
hearing.
we're back voting on it.
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
All right, have a second? Christine, please read the roll call. Good call, Cheryl.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Rivers,
Sorry, that's probably an old one.
yeah,
Commissioner Brown.
Commissioner Rivers, yeah, Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Vermeet,
Aye.
and President Hartman.
Aye. Okay, good call, Cheryl.
So yeah, now this is just the public hearing portion. If there were people in attendance from the public that had any concerns about our capacity to issue debt, we've gone through all the legal parameters to post this in the newspaper. It's been posted in the paper, the legal notice, and posted on our at our main facility, which we're required to do. And again, this is just giving us the ability to issue up to 2.25 million in debt. Our municipal financial advisor, Aaron Gold from Spear, will come to our meeting next week to do next month to do the actual bond issuance, which is still consistent with our plan of about 650,000, 690,000 or so. Okay, so we're not changing our bond size or anything. We have to do this step first.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close. All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion that we close the public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Park Commissioners of the Park District.
So moved.
I have a second? Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Vermeet,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, President Hartman.
Aye. All right, next, review and recommend the approval of low bid for soil
So
remediation.
yeah, there are 3 bids here for the remediation of contaminated soil down on the property, on the Ebenezer property where we're going to build the maintenance building. If you remember, we engaged Gary Deegan and his environmental team prior to accepting the donation of the land from the city. One of his colleagues had come and given us a report on what they found out there. They wrote up a real thorough and detailed report on some areas of the property that they identified as potential hazards. And we knew at that time that the approximate cost was going to be about $40,000. That's he was pretty close here because Gary's fees, his consulting fees kind of go on top of the $24,900, which we're paying him along the way for his consulting fees. But Gary has reached out and prepared this quote. We actually don't have to bid it because it's not at the $30,000 statutory limit, but we wanted to go out and just get quotes on it anyways. And Gary has good relationships with these 3 different companies. And so the lowest quote came in at $24,900. So that would be our recommendation to approve the quote from Styles Inc. in the amount of $24,900 for them to do the soil remediation, excavation in the identified areas and truck it off property.
So we didn't have any conversations with the city about, like, how this would go down if they needed, so the city has nothing to do with it, it's just ours now.
The city doesn't have anything to do with it, it's our property.
Okay.
Mhm.
Even though we knew there might be an issue.
We knew of the issue before we
Okay.
accepted the property,
Okay.
right? Remember, we were aware of it, and we
Yeah.
were saying, hey, for $40,000 worth of remediation,
Yeah, okay,
then that's worth taking that parcel. That's a good deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, that's all I got.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, I will go ahead and entertain a motion that we approve the Styles bid for $24,900.
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Vermeet,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, President Hartman.
Aye. All right, the FY 24-25 tax levy.
Yeah, so this is the point in the year where we prepare a levy estimate. The process always starts, right now we get the estimated EAV from Lake County. They provide us with the preliminary estimate of what the EAV will be. Good news is that change is projected at almost 8.5%, so we're looking at almost a 8.5% increase, 8.42% increase in the value of taxable property in Zion. And then we use that EAV number to, run through the calculations to determine some of the limitations as far as like the property tax extension limitation law, the PTEL. So our funds are capped at certain rates that we can know. There's different restrictions, but we can't levy above a certain rate. And everything is really generated off of what that EAV is. So the preliminary estimate that I prepared here, so again, this is just an estimate. We always prepare an estimate and then bring the final levy back to the board for approval at the November meeting. And then the levy must be filed with the county prior to the end of December. So we're still on track here. But this levy estimate shows, again, a change in the property tax extension of $155. So that's like a change in our expected property tax collection would go up about $155,000. Yeah, sorry. And then this would again reduce our tax rate by 3.97% because the EAV is increasing more than what our levy is increasing, so it's actually kind of a decrease in the tax rate. Now everyone's going to see a different effect on their tax bill based on the valuation and what their house was assessed at, right? So, again, as we spoke earlier in the meeting before, I think with the Park District comprising 6.7% of a resident's tax bill, getting less than 7 cents on every dollar, we work hard to really provide good value to the residents of Zion. So I don't know if the board has any questions on this levy estimate. Hopefully I explained that. I know it's a lot of different calculations and things. I think the main point to consider is this is an increase in the levy of just under 4%, an increase in everyone's property value estimated by the county of over 8%. This decreases our tax rate. This would not require us to create a truth in taxation disclosure because we're lower than the required amount.
So this is just an FYI. This is nothing that we have to.
This is the levy estimate for the board to approve.
Okay.
And then we would bring the final levy back at the November meeting.
Okay.
which would be the levy ordinance for approval. So I don't know
We
if
won't
anyone
find
has-
out the true until like March, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The difficult part is we don't find out the true EAV until, I always think of like spring break. It seems like every time spring break, then the county gives us the final number. I actually honestly take their number and dial it down by 1%. So this is only like 99% of what the county had given us, because we know there's going to be some things along the way that probably will move it down a little bit. So we try to be a little conservative with the number we're using. But yes, you're correct. It is backwards because we're working some very important numbers based on estimates.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for the FY 24-25 tax levy estimate for the tax year of 2023.
So move.
I have a second.
I'll say.
I have a second. Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Vermeer,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, President Hartman.
Aye. All right, next on is the employee insurance plan.
So the Park District is a member of PDERMA, right, for Dave's benefit maybe, the Park District Risk Management Agency, which is a collaboration of park districts throughout the state of Illinois that really pools together to kind of diversify risk on the public, liability side. And then also diversifies risk on the health insurance side too, because you're dealing with a larger pool, right? So it's much better for us to not just insure 20 people in a small group, but to get the advantage of a large pool of, 90 park districts around the state and all of their employees as well. So we're recommending continuing with the PDERMA health plan, the plan that, we're recommending no changes in the health plan, which is continuing to offer the Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO with a $1,250 deductible with 1,000 HRA. That is the plan that we've had in effect for probably the last couple of years now. PDERMA has made some changes, and I think they've really got it right. I think the insurance is very good, and it's a significant value and benefit to the employees. The Blue Cross PPO is a great plan. Blue Cross is now the claims administrator of the plan, and PDERMA does a lot of the negotiations with them on pricing and things like that. So we have 22 full-time employees. We have 20 employees covered under the plan in various capacities, whether they're individual, employee plus spouse, family, whatever. This year, unfortunately, like everything else, is the largest percentage increase that we've seen in the last probably 10 years, right? The 5-year average increase in the PPO plan has been 2%. So PDERMA has really done a good job and been a good partner for us over the years in keeping that cost increase low. And the 10-year average increase in the PPO plan has been 3.8%. So this year, again, unfortunately, like a lot of the other costs that have been high, they're looking at a 7.95% increase. Employees will continue to pay, a percentage of the premium based on their coverage. So someone who elects single coverage versus family coverage, that percentage is different. I think up the family coverage percentage is 6%. I think it's 2, 4, 6%. Yeah. But again, it's a very good benefit for employees. And we continue to really work diligently within the budget to provide benefits that allow us to really attract and retain a quality staff and a quality workforce. By no means do we have a lot of people. So, hopefully the board will agree to, approving the PDERMA health plan with the Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, we were on the committee,
Yeah.
and the idea was to slowly move the responsibility increase on the employee, and I don't know where we fall as far as that goes, especially with the price increase going up.
I, to be honest, don't remember having that thought about slowly moving more percentage to the employee. I don't. I remember when we switched the pricing of that plan to land on those tiers.
But we also don't provide dental.
Yeah, yeah.
vision.
I mean, right. We don't offer a dental plan. We don't offer a vision plan. The insurance is definitely a good benefit, a valued benefit by the employees. I think in this environment to ask employees to pay more for it, while we certainly could, if the board wanted us to do that, it really just honestly is taking more money from people's take home and stuff like that in a time that's already challenging. But that's why we're always cautious about when we're adding full-time staff and to only have 20 on the payroll, given all that we do and maintain.
It's definitely low.
And again, we're not the highest paying district in Park District land, so I think for us to be competitive, to keep good staff, this is an important benefit to be able to retain them. I don't know if you would want to see a different percentage or.
Well, I just remember that was our conversation, but you don't remember that conversation?
I don't remember talking about slowly
because those
working
percentages
it.
were so low. So I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking financially for the taxpayers.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things too that I wanted to point out here that I also have in the document, if you flip through some of the talking points, Paderma they'll rebate us based on an amount of premium. So, for example, if their claims experience in a given year is better than their actuarial forecast, they'll give us a rebate and they'll send us back some of that money. So, for example, I have a letter here from Paderma on page 72 of the PDF where Paderma is sending us back $17,731 in the current calendar year to offset, some of that premium increase. So that's going, back directly to the district, the $17,000. So they're very fair with us too. I think that they're just running their actuarial projections to be sure that they're funding potential claims that could come in, and when it doesn't, they're fair in giving us premium back. So that's a positive.
I mean, if nobody has a concern but me.
I don't.
No, I don't have a concern. I mean, it's.
You in the previous discussions, so this is kind of new to me, but
Yeah.
from what I'm seeing right now, understanding what our workforce is at, understanding what our inflation is, overall, I think I don't have problems with what I see here because I've got nothing to balance it against. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it either. I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate that everything's happened to be going up. As far as the staff here, you're right. I mean, I just got done with accreditation, and for probably a little bit less of the acreage that we have, they have 10 times more people than you got. So I think from the staff point of view, yes, we are rolling at a lower. And my philosophy is, you know what? You want good people, you got to take care of them. And you know what? If you don't you get what you pay for, is basically what I taught. So, I mean, anybody else have anything? I mean, Cheryl.
I'm just speaking on behalf of the taxpayers.
I
Yeah,
totally
I mean, I'm
understand.
sorry,
You know.
I really don't
Yeah.
remember that. I truly don't. I do know that our percentages are in line with like other districts because business managers will send that out. Unfortunately, we don't have any unions in the Park District. I know like some of the unions in the city have negotiated, they get 100% of their healthcare paid for. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that.
Yeah, fortunately we don't.
Yeah, so.
I mean, most working people don't. Yeah.
No, I agree.
So,
no,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 100% is attractive.
Yeah, it's a valuable benefit,
Yeah,
you know.
Do you have a question, Jess?
I got one. You said we got 22 full-timers
We do.
and 20 in there.
Yes.
Why you two out?
So the two that are out, there is an incentive paid for people to decline the plan. So, for example,
somebody
the
else.
percentage payout. So, for example, if you're just a married individual and you can get on your husband's insurance or
Right.
your wife's insurance and deny the Park District's insurance, then you're eligible for a 1/3 payout of the savings by declining the plan, right? So, for example, if it's a $9,000 plan and you decline the coverage, which two people do, right? You decline it. and then your portion of that 9,000 is, let's say, 1,000 or two. So then that's like the park district would have to pay like 7,000 on your behalf in this example. You would get a third of that, so you'd get like $2,500 or $2,800 for declining the insurance. So that's a practice that's always been around in the park district for years. I mean, we're not recommending any change to that. I think it's a win-win because it really kind of is a big incentive for some people to go on and take their spouse's insurance and deny the park district's coverage. So it's effectively saving us like 67% of what it could cost us. So, but that's why those two people declined it, because there is like a financial incentive to decline. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything? All right. I will go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the review and recommended approval of the 2024 Employee Health Insurance Plan.
Someone.
I have a second.
I'll second.
I have a second. Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Vermeet,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, President Hartman.
Aye. All right. Next one is the quote for the tasers.
Yeah, so the last item on the agenda is the quote to replace the tasers that are carried by the Park Ranger Department. Chad has provided a thorough write-up that hopefully everyone read on what he believes are the benefits to upgrade the Rangers tasers that they carry. This quote is in the amount of $11,845. And it gets him 4 new tasers. Now, the tasers that he currently has, they'll still use, kind of like as a secondary option. But the tasers are one of the really, one of the options that the Rangers carry. The only one that, only Rangers that are armed are the Rangers that are actually sworn police officers, right? So Chad carries a firearm. And when some of the other Rangers that work for like Winthrop Harbor, whether it's Adams Ice, whether if he's working for us, he'd be allowed to. But like our newest addition, Jose, does not, and some of the other part-timers do not. But they will carry a taser once they go through, once they qualify for it. I put in the report here too that Chad is a certified taser instructor. And I also gave a little bit of the overview of the training course that he puts them through. I mean, he's very serious about it. He's very thorough on it. He makes sure that the people are responsible and able to carry them. So one of the reasons also too that I wanted the board to approve this and Chad to give a lot of this information is so the board is very aware, and if they have any questions on the fact that our Rangers are carrying tasers, and I think it's good that Chad constantly tries to stay ahead of the curve with the safest and most current options. Now he believes too, if we buy these tasers, they should last us 8 to 10 years. With some of the different features and some things they have.
So is it leased just for that, or that's the
no, it's
program length 60 months?
No, it's a purchase of $11,845 because Chad said that these will last us 10 years.
I think it's going to life expectancy on the product because there's always come up when you use technology and how long it will actually last.
And I do recommend that a couple of the board members, or all the board members for that matter, go out and take a ride along with Chad and get a overview on how things are being ran as far as his department. I mean, it's really concerning because, knock on wood, we have had 0 incidents.
Yeah.
And I want the board members to understand, what we have out there as far as patrol officers.
Right.
Let's face it.
Right.
So if you have some time, please get a hold of Chad. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
take a ride along with him.
He's very thorough in his policies and his trainings.
I think you'd enjoy it, Cheryl. I really do. I think you'd have a good time out there. And you can get it. No, I'm serious. And that's everybody.
Well,
That's me too.
well, even if you don't do a ride along, I just met with him in his office. We never got a chance to get out of his office, and I was 2-3 hours right there. So.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever you decide. I think it's a good thing, though, especially the way things are going on around the world. And I hate to say it, those guys are doing a great job out there. And whoever thought Waukesha, Wisconsin, which is a laid-back town, I mean, my son went to college. I never even thought in a million years anything would happen in that town.
Yeah.
And some knucklehead decides to ride through a parade.
Yeah.
So,
Our rangers do a good job. I mean, they know that their first priority is to be a park ambassador and to be friendly and engaging and interactive with the community. I mean, they're not going out there by any means looking to find a situation where they can use their taser. They don't want to.
yeah. So,
Yeah, a question.
Go ahead, Jess.
I want to comment. I agree with the leap and bounds. How the park ranger went from
oh,
Jesse to
I know exactly what you're going to say. Yep,
the best
that is so true.
and Jeopardy. Second.
That's so true.
Second, I have one question about him because why does he only run by 4? Because he's saying
Excuse me about that.
with a big event, he don't have enough tasers.
No, he will now though, because he'll have the current ones that he's using. They will be sufficient for a large event. So this will actually give him, I think, a total of 7, because I think he has 3 now. And if he buys these 4 more, he'll have a total of 7. So he'll have enough when we have 7 rangers on. Right now we don't even have 7 rangers, but if we did, you know. But
Okay.
these would be the 4 main primary tasers that they would carry on their rounds every day.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one, I'm like, okay, does he need more than 4?
No, I don't think he does. And if
Yeah,
he did, I think he
he
would have
did
asked.
already ask for
Yeah.
it.
Okay, that
Yeah.
one my
Yeah.
concern.
All right. I will go ahead and entertain a motion that we approve the quota to purchase the replacement tasers for the park ranger department. He had to go.
Should we wait from
Yeah.
I think we could go ahead and.
I think we need to.
Do you want to
Can we
wait?
do it with whatever?
Yeah, we could do it.
I mean, if we have 3, it
He's
doesn't
on
three.
board with
it's
it.
better. Okay.
He's on board with it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid for Exxon Enterprise for, how many, 4 tasers in the amount of $11,845.
Have a second?
Second,
Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Pye,
aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, Commissioner Vermeet,
On the tasers?
Yeah.
Aye.
President Hartman.
Aye. All right, anything else?
That is all.
All right, I will entertain a motion that we adjourn the Zion Park District Board meeting dated 19 October 2023.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a second? Christine, please read the roll call.
Commissioner Vermeet,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Magiera,
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers, President Hartman.
Aye.